Let's come back within and analyze what's happening. Life is not only the things we do. Life is what happens to us. So let's come back to a place where we're totally letting life happen to us. Everything that's happening, we're allowing to happen. We're just observing that it's happening. All the information coming in from the senses and all the reactions that rise from within our organs, they're all happening to us. The awareness can rest. When the awareness is at rest, it is aware of the things happening to it. Everything that happens is taking place because a force, a power, a spirit that is beyond our perception is making it take place, including our own perception, including ourselves. We are because a power that's beyond us decided that we are. To become aware of that power, simply refrain from doing anything, from directing anything, from becoming anything. And as soon as you're not doing anything, you're observing the thing that is everything. Within that perception, there are many layers of awareness, many layers of consciousness. From the most basic, subtle energies that are running our body, all the way to the most stimulated sense organ that's giving us information relating to the present. And in between, there are many levels: spiritual levels, intellectual levels, emotional levels, physical sensations. They're all happening simultaneously, and together they create our experience. So when we become silent, when we want to come back to ourselves, we want to move closer to the subtle and away from the gross, closer to the source and away from the movement that defines the human experience, whether it's the senses that are bringing in movement, or the emotions that are causing movement, or the intellect, or it's just energy moving. So we want to return from all forms of movement in order to unite with the more subtle areas of our perception. So return with your attention to the place inside of you that feels the most silent. Place where there's the least movement. And ground yourself in that place. Become that place. Let your entire experience be colored by that place. And then from that place, again look for a place that is even more silent, even more stable, even more grounded, and become that place. So bring your attention to the place that's important to you. See the power you have to direct your attention deeper within the silence. As we go deeper within the silence, we're going deeper within the root of our nervous system, from where all activity springs forth. So with our attention, we direct the spirit, we direct the life force to focus on a specific area, just like we can direct the spirit, the life force, to focus on a specific body part. We can, for example, direct the life force to our hands or to our feet. We do this instinctively when we want to walk or we want to act with our hands. And so, wherever we direct our attention, we're moving the life force to that location within the body. So now we're directing our attention to the root of the nervous system, from where all the nerves come forth. To direct our attention to that root is to direct our attention to the most subtle, the most stable, the most silent areas of our perception. And away from the movement, away from the noise. And the spirit unites at the root. It remembers that it's a singular force. It becomes self-evident that there is only one. And this reminds all the branches of the nervous system to realign with the unity that it's trying to serve. Bring yourself to the root and dwell within the root. Dwell within the silence. Just become comfortable as that. Whatever comes is coming forth from that silence. So realize where it's coming from and go to the source, to the place where it arises from. Because all activation has to come through this silent place first. From this silence, all the nerves that are filled with information, filled with desire to protect and serve the spirit that they were designed for. So all these are being controlled, are receiving life, are receiving instruction from the root, from their source. And so bring yourself back to that source. In order to allow all the different portions of you to return to their natural function. Unhindered by whatever information they've received from the external reality. So as we dwell in those individual nerves, as we identify as these layers of consciousness that are more dense, then they become rigid, they become frozen. We start creating a personality around the different forms of information that we've stored in our nerves. And now we want to return to our true nature. Our true nature is beyond personality. Our true nature is spontaneous reaction to reality based on the specific circumstances and the status of the organs in that specific moment. It's not the kind of information that we can repeat accurately, because every circumstance requires a unique response. There are nuances for every circumstance that have to be recognized and responded to in real time. And so the more our nerves are available to the unity, to take the shape that the circumstances require, the less there's going to be resistance. Resistance between the one within and the external reality that he occupies. the more the nerves are available to take shape in accordance with the circumstances, the more safe is the one that dwells within those nerves. So as we return to the source, to the root, as we remember what all we are doing, all we are gathering, all we are trying to accomplish is really trying to serve. Remember who it's trying to serve. So then the nerves can return to their natural function. They no longer have to keep all the information that previously was its only source of guidance. The previous guidance is now recognized as an hindrance, as a way of repeating the past. So we come back to the unity to find a new interpretation, to find a more subtle interpretation for all the different realities that are already present within the spirit. That allows the spirit to now see itself in a more subtle reality, to experience life from a more subtle perspective, subtle meaning a higher energetic vibration. One that doesn't have the same conflict, the same clumsiness as the gross vibrations, which relate to the difficulties of survival and don't really gain appreciation for the finer, subtler source that's running all the vibrations. And in general, as we observe these vibrations, as we observe the behaviors, the energies that create life, the more subtle is in charge of the less subtle. This is how it is within. The higher the angel, the more subtle, the more he is so present, he's so always there that we can't even notice him. Until there is the one that is so subtle that he's everywhere and he's never noticed. The spirit that is at the root of all spirits. All spirits are lenses through which that spirit sees itself. That source is the most subtle of all. There's no vibration. There's the potential for everything. So as we approach that silence, we're approaching the source that is present in all. But the more we get consumed with the grosser realities, with the lower vibrations, the more we are distant from that source, the more we're slaving away to perceptions rather than perceptions slaving away for us. Return to the source to allow your perceptions to remember who they're serving. When you remember, they remember. All of the angels are always listening. All of your spirit is always watching. And on some level, it knows what this experience really means, even though it cannot allow itself to realize, because it wouldn't be able to contain itself within a body if it did. So return to that silence. It brings you closer to your source. Brings you closer to the most silent of all. The one that is so silent that he's everywhere, and yet nowhere can he be found.